You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily represent those of the network, its advertisers, owners, or sponsors.
Thank you for clicking play. This is the IT and the D Show, episode 249, recording on a Tuesday.
And we have updated our privacy policy to better serve you.
You stole my line.
Please opt in by continuing to listen.
I hate you. You stole my line.
That's right. By continuing to listen, you are agreeing to all of our new privacy policies.
Hope you had a nice holiday weekend. We're having a good time here in the studio. Our guest today, Charles Severance. He hosts the most popular Python course on Coursera. It's actually the number 6 course ever used on Coursera. He's a professor. He's an 80s geek, and he's one of our people. So we're gonna have one of us. And he has a startup too. But yeah, we're gonna have a fun conversation. He's been a riot so far. Also, we're joined by Dave Santia. If you don't know him, he is the Star Wars geek extraordinaire. We're gonna be talking Solo in segment 3. So be prepared.
That's right. Bring it, butthurt fanboys.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, this show is brought to you by our friends at Huawei, introducing the Huawei MateBook X Pro, winner of 27 global awards. It now comes with Windows Hello. If you do not know what Windows Hello is, you can unlock your Huawei MateBook X Pro with a touch of your fingerprint. Secure, fast, no password to remember. For a limited time, get a free $300 gift card with a purchase. Wow. Visit a Microsoft store near you today. Wow, that's the Huawei MateBook X Pro.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, no kidding. Fingerprint, get in my
Am I the only one who remembers Demolition Man? And every time I hear biometrics, it freaks me out a little bit.
Davey may fire and ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT and the D Show.
This is Max Headroom. And what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Just where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the sun? Any of those, right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
So what happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly. Come on. Try. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the show.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT and the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. So, Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Are we at a break yet?
Hey everybody, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and you're listening to IT and the D. And if you want to get your money's worth, stay right here. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds.
What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. The IT and the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
Hey, what up? This is Jay Muse, and you're listening to the IT and D Show. Snooch to the nooch. Listen, Muse, Snoogans.
Hey, everybody, this is Tony Todd. What's happening? You may know me from Candyman, The Rock, Sushi Girl, Zoom, Night of the Living Dead, a lot of pop culture media madness. Anyway, you're listening to IT in the D Show business.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, a tit striker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Hi, this is David Kay, the voice of Megatron from Beast Wars. Excellent, yes.
And, of course, Clank from Ratchet and Clank.
And Grandpa Max from the new Ben 10. Yes, Professor Xavier from X-Men Evolution. Storm! Logan, where is Storm? Storm! Come here, Storm. Sit on my lap, Storm. Yes.
You're listening to IT and the D. Don't go away.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Oh!
Hi, this is Bruce Pritchard. You're listening to, what the hell, the IT and the D Show? What kind of name is that? But just in case you were wondering, I do love you.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Thank you for listening. What is going on? This is episode 249 of the one and only IT in the D Show. And just to remind you, we have updated our privacy policy to better suit you. This is Bob the Sales Guy.
But we have not changed our name to serve you better.
Dave the Geek. Nuri the FNG's in the house. Randy is, I do the Twitter's Walker, is sick.
Feel better, Randy. We love you.
We're hanging out here in studio.
Or just feel better. Randy.
Feel better.
That's it.
We're hanging out here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Find us online, itinthed.com. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, so support for today's show comes from Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is your hub for teamwork in Office 365. With so much to look after, wouldn't it be great if there was just one place to look? Bob, I think we've talked about this a bajillion times.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Teams is that single workspace where you can work, share, and connect with the people in your work life. Teams brings together your chats, meetings, files, and apps all in one place. You can take teamwork where you work with apps for mobile and desktop. So whether you're sprinting towards a deadline or sharing your next big idea, Teams can help you and your team achieve even more. Dude, because seriously, we send the same Excel spreadsheet back and forth 20 times a month.
Underscore Waltonspiel V3, underscore Phillips V5.
Edit to, are doing the PowerPoint presentations for PenguinCon. Here's my edit, your edit, my edit crosses
Except you
your
forgot
edit.
to edit them.
Well, yeah, there was that. So yeah, you could have added a to-do for me.
Right.
In Microsoft Teams. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go check out Microsoft Teams in Office 365. Visit office.com/teams to learn more. That is office.com/teams.
Dave, did I remind you that we've updated our privacy policy to suit you better?
People have to click, or do they just automatically agree?
I think
we just redirected.
It's
them
rhetorical
to the new one, and it's just there.
It's just rhetorical. Honest to God, how many emails? How many emails did we get? That was half of my inbox.
I'm not gonna lie.
This weekend,
I loved because every single one had the subject line where if you don't click the link in this email, you will not be getting further emails from us.
No.
Not even opening it. Not even opening
anything
it.
with
not
that.
even opening
I
it.
didn't open one of them.
I've kind of used GDPR to kind of opt out of all of my bullshit that I get from companies every
It's
day.
kind of like birthdays on Facebook to figure out who to unfriend. It's my great reminder. Who is that? Unfriend.
Hey, so real quick, as you mentioned, we are broadcasting live here from our studios in Royal Oak. Come at me, bro. Podcast Detroit and Royal Oak. We did do a cool little thing on Friday. We've talked about it before. We are opening up a new studio down in the Detroit Shipping Company location.
And oh my God, is it cool? I saw the preview this weekend.
Dude, how hot is that space going to be?
It's like it is like a dance floor meets outdoor kitchens meets public community gathering space meets swank AF.
Yeah,
like that is such a cool space.
Yeah, the studio is going to kill it.
Dave, you got to tell the story real quick before we go any further.
So I'm standing there, and I'm setting up because we hosted and recorded the panel discussion with basically some of the godfathers of house music from
the godfathers
from Detroit and Chicago.
Jesse Saunders, who produced On and On, that was the first house music record ever pressed.
Yep. Dude, and it was just they could have talked for another hour, and I would have been okay with it.
I was dumbfounded. We were sitting about maybe 15 feet from them, smoking cigarettes and drinking beers and listening to the god of house
drinking
music.
Wonderful beer
from Falling Down Beer Company. Yes, shameless commerce.
It was just phenomenal. So I'm setting up the gear, for the panel discussion, and this random walks up to me. And he was like, "Hey, so like, what's all this? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm Dave. We're doing a podcast studio up there, and we got the brewery over there." And he was like, "Oh man, thank God. There's going to be like a really nice podcast studio here in the city." And he air quotes and he goes, "Because those podcast Detroit guys are in Royal Oak."
Are you kidding me?
And I look at him and I'm like, "Yeah, what jerks, right?" And he's like, totally, just trying to steal off the city and and so I'm like, I bite my tongue for a sec, and finally I reach in my pocket, I pull out my business card, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Dave. I'm one of the owners of Podcast Detroit." And in case you weren't aware, we have a studio in Southwest Detroit. We have for the better part of a year. Before that, we were in the Penobscot building, so we've always been downtown. You might want to walk away now. And he did.
With a bright red face.
But why won't you pay for my RTA?
Right.
Suburbs are stupid, and you're stupid when you don't pay for my stuff.
But yeah, so no, the Detroit Shipping Company thing is going to be, dude, it's going to be the new hotness. We must have had.
It's such a sexy space.
Well, and I think I had 8 people already ask me about starting up shows there.
I want to do, like, once a month we need to do a show.
We'll be doing ours down there
Yeah.
for sure, especially with, brewery stuff and everything else going on down there. It's going to be a good thing. So if you haven't yet, it's DetroitShippingCompany.com. Check them out.
Great guys running it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great location.
There's was it 5 or 6 restaurants? It reminds me of the old German beer gardens where you walk in.
It's a food court.
Yeah, and you get food. Or it could be the mall food court. German beer garden sounds better.
Yeah.
They're like the lakeside food court. But you get to eat from wherever you want. There's 2 bars and there's a pop-up brewery thing going in. There's a stage for bands, outdoor, indoor. I mean,
well, that's dude, especially with this heat. Like, there's a nice air conditioned area inside.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a nice, there's a great courtyard area with picnic tables.
And then they got a second floor you can look down.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. So the studio's up on the second floor. We've got 2 windows that face out onto the street. We've got another one that faces into the courtyard.
The sound system was bumping in there, and they were playing amazing sets that we were dancing to. And that was
Nuri was having a little DJ envy. He wants to do a set or 2 there. Pretty sure we're gonna have to make that happen. Pretty sure we're gonna have to make that happen.
So on
with the show.
Yeah. So one of the big stories.
One thing we do have, speaking of Podcast Detroit, we have our free podcast day on Saturday. So if you have not signed up for that yet, you should do that.
So I can just stop by and record?
No, there's no stopping by. If you stop by, you will get told no, because we plan accordingly. It's a nice, easy form on our website. You fill it out, you pick a time slot, we get back to you. Life's good. Ta-da.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the big stories this week was everyone talks about Amazon Alexa is recording, not recording. We're not sure. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Well,
and actually, I gave you credit. I was having a conversation with someone. It was actually Bob who was like, "Well, if it's not listening and recording all the time, how does it know when you say the wake word?"
Right? It's got to be a rolling record of some sort, right? I mean,
of some sort. It's kind of like I was talking about the movie Fahrenheit 451, which is the book turned into like 2018 movie with the guy from Zod and Michael B. Jordan, and they're like they're everywhere. They're always listening, and they try to tell them to turn down, but you follow like they'll put a lampshade over it, or they'll put like because it's always it's still listening, but it's like no, it's just me and you.
Yeah.
Well, apparently this couple's conversation.
Oh, this was the best.
And apparently whatever they said turned into send this recording to one of my contacts. That's why I never imported my contacts.
Yep.
Into it because no, that's the last thing I wanted to do because call dad or something, and I'm like banging.
Oh yeah, hey, you should call dad, and all of a sudden, whoop.
Right.
I don't like their explanation.
Wait.
Though.
Alexa, call dad. Just to mess with anybody out there.
You should be calling your father. By the way, call your damn father. Yeah. But Amazon's explanation was, it says it woke up because it heard Alexa, and then it heard something that said send message, and then it said to whom, and then someone else said a contact name. It confirmed, like, the explanation they gave.
Shenanigans.
No, but the explanation they gave suggests that they were recording.
Absolutely.
If they knew the explanation. And that's another reason that they're recording, is they're always looking to make sure if they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. And so they got to adjust the AI algorithms. So they got to record the AI algorithms so that they can reprocess them again so that they can get smarter.
Well, all they answered was, "We're sorry." And then
We're sorry.
apologize 15 times. And it's kind of like that girlfriend that you had that said she's sorry too much and you dumped her because of that. Like she'd do something stupid.
You dated a Canadian chick?
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Of course, man. When you're in Detroit, you go to Canada when you're 19, man. Of course you did. I'm sorry. And then you forgive her, and she keeps saying, I'm sorry. You're like, God, I hate you. Like, there's Amazon, like 15 times, they're like saying they're sorry, and then we need to investigate this. It's like,
and they did. They went through the code, and that's the explanation they gave. So it's actually kind of cool that they went through and gave a public answer to that, but I still don't.
Well, and they've now made it so that you can go and listen to and check out everything that Alexa has recorded on you, kind of like we talked about with Google Home not too long ago.
Google's been doing it for months.
Which
right.
was, basically just Jess yelling at your Google Home to play Fat Bottom Girls.
and me yelling to turn on the lights, exactly.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, like, mine's been acting weird lately. All of a sudden, it'll start talking.
So
I don't know if
does it laugh at you?
I don't know if it's picking up from the TV or like from like Food Network. That's
So my
on all
first
day.
gen one actually there was a software update that came through, and now it will no longer connect to the network.
Interesting.
So I picked up a second gen, and that one's working fine. But yeah, it's just really weird. Like the first gen will no longer connect to the mesh network through the Euros.
So like if you read USA Today like I do every day,
Was it in the USA Today?
Today. They put out actually a really good article, 5 tips to keep Alexa from peering into your life, which is garbage.
Step 1, unplug it.
Put a lampshade on top of it.
Right. And basically like it says after you use the wake word, but I don't buy it. Like again, that's one of those things. And it's just looking into what happened in future situations. But like the house, voice purchasing, they're talking about like recognized voices, household profile. Like,
well, we've talked about that for what, 2 years since you first got one.
Yeah.
And it turned into screaming matches on your back patio as to who was going to get it to play the worst song.
Yeah. But then like you can delete them, all the stuff that's kept. You need to go on the app. So you need to manage that app like you do Gmail. Just to like wipe stuff out.
Or like Google, keeping track of your locations and that kind of stuff.
Right, exactly. Like, oh, that's that's even worse. It's funny, Alexa, we talk about this all the time. Alexa's getting all the hate and like, but Google.
Just kind of flying under the radar, yeah.
Google's like,
honestly, dude, so I've got 2 of them in the home, and they're not plugged in. Like the only time they're really plugged in is if they are in use, like to play music for a party when people are over or that kind of stuff. I don't leave them just plugged in 24/7 because why?
Right.
Because Skeptical Dave is skeptical.
No, indeed. I mean, because I wanted to do like the whole home thing because I always wanted the Sonos speakers.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, Alexa does the same crap. I'm just going to plug that in. But now I got listening devices all over the damn house.
Right.
Great. So you can hear me yelling for Funyuns. And
yeah, now basically it's, which Batman was that where he turned every cell phone into a listening device?
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But the problem is this is just a ratchet effect, right? So you fight back for a little while, right? And then you relent, and then you fight back for a little while, and then you relent, and then you fight back for it. But in the long run, it just
boiled frog.
In the long run, you say, I'm going to unplug you I'm going to punish you. I'm going to unplug you for like 4 hours.
Naughty Alexa.
Yeah, no. I will use you when I need to use you.
You're grounded.
Yeah.
And then a year from now, you'll be like, I'm tired of turning this thing on and off or whatever. And so it's like the frog. It's exactly the frog that we're going to just all give it up for convenience. We do.
So yeah, don't you dare track me, but don't turn off my GPS.
Do you guys swear at Siri?
No, I don't. I'm Alexa and I have Bixby on my Samsung or whatever.
So like I swear at Siri, not like on purpose to engage Siri. I'll just like be unhappy with something Siri has done, and then I'll say like something like "you idiot," and Siri's says I'm still here for you.
Of course she is. Yeah.
I still think it's funny that Alexa farts. Like all you have to say is Alexa fart, and it will physically fart. Which makes
there are a million houses around the world now that just farted.
Right, but it won't burp or poop, which completely messes up. My kids get angry at it. Like, well, you can fart, but you can't. But like, someone slipped that code in and slipped the sound bites in, and like giggling.
It's a thing.
Their boss didn't hear about it. So speaking of
ultimately the fart, if they put that in, that's a way to desensitize us to this and to enjoy this and can get endorphins.
Oh, gamify it. Yeah,
right.
Just to get endorphins by interacting with this little gadget.
Found an Easter egg.
Yep. That just is a way to desensitize us.
So, Dave, speaking of updating our privacy policy to better suit you better, there's a great website, and it's a phenomenal read. If you haven't been there yet, you need to. It's called the GDPR Hall of Shame.com. Counting down from 20, like basically it's a Samsung fridge from Best Buy or wherever it's from. It said if you want to believe that fridges aren't showing GDPR notices, but that's the world we live in now. There's actually,
it's true.
The whole thing.
Like I said, I don't understand why I need my fridge to tell me that it's out of eggs, but okay, whatever.
Right.
If that's that's the way you want to live your life.
Yelp has told everyone the transparency. We have provided additional details about
They provided a message about their transparency that nobody can understand because it's so vague.
CSS was broken, And then think about the Orlando Sentinel, the Chicago Tribune, the Los Angeles Times, who basically are no longer showing content to people in Europe.
What?
Dude, that's a big thing. No, I mean, that's one way that people have opted out of it is just region blocks.
And then some of the things that are sneaky where they're like, you have to click to consent. There was one from a company called Zoom.
Oh, yeah, I loved this.
Where it says, yes, I'd like to opt in, or yes, but only email me 1X a month.
Yeah, where's the no?
Where's the no?
Yeah.
No is don't reply, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I thought I saw one light bulb that simply said, we can't work anymore. This light bulb is never going to turn on again because of GDPR.
That's amazing. If you have
it's for Ye-Light.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one go by. I'm like, that I love.
Wait,
So
on
the light.
Like, what world do we live in?
On May 25th, this light
that because of
stopped turning
GDPR, a light bulb can no longer turn on.
Hold on, that's a smart bulb that no longer will turn on because it's collecting PII about you?
It came from the Twitter
like
site.
I have a smart bulb, and just to make the thing that works from the remote to the switch, it goes into the cloud, and I had to give them an email address.
True.
And they really have no way to talk to me about
Right.
this. This is a Lutron, and so they know me, and so the problem is you hardly have a relationship. So how can they even ask you the question?
So one of the quotes was,
we just started dating, and now she's got a drawer in my house. And
No, the quote was
to shut it off.
It's extremely unlikely that Ye-Light would get your data from a light bulb. They only use Wi-Fi to turn on and off and nothing else. They are extremely safe to use over Wi-Fi. But if you're worried about it, I recommend you get the Bluetooth version named Ye-Light Blue.
Like that's Y2K,
right?
You know, you have a tire on your car. We can't guarantee that it's not that it's Y2K compliant, but our new tires
right
are Y2K compliant.
Well, no, so I mean, and this was interesting when I was setting up.
It is the new Y2K.
It is,
which means a whole bunch of people are going to make a lot of money.
Of course, they are
flying around on airplanes, explaining this to people who don't know anything. And the people doing explaining will only know a few buzzwords, and they're going to make a lot of money.
So, Bob, good question. Speaking of the Alexa, have you gone in and checked your account to see if you have saved your wireless network and passwords to Amazon?
No.
What?
So if you have Amazon devices in your house, when you go through the setup process, one of the and I almost missed it when I was setting up the new Echo, is do you want to save your configuration information to Amazon?
Why?
To simplify setup in the future.
Oh, to better serve you.
So all your wireless network and passwords and all that stuff.
God damn it. Because I know I did.
We're a frog, right? We're just a frog.
So speaking of Amazon, the thing that freaked me out this week is that they're now selling real-time facial recognition software to police departments.
Why does Amazon? Yeah, Orlando's trying it out, I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is Amazon developing real-time facial recognition software in the first place?
Just freaking ship me my freaking packages,
right?
And don't do. It just makes me so angry.
Yeah, it's one of the why? Did they buy a company that had that, and now it's a thing?
I bet this is Amazon Go. Right, because they got a store. You just walk in. You walk
no, it's
out.
recognition.
Right.
No, it's recognition with a K.
That
yeah,
sounds very USSR.
No, you're right. I did. I forgot about the Amazon.
Amazon Go. You just walk in. You grab something. They just see what you did. They see who you are. You walk out and you got stuff, and they charge you for it.
So they start with making your
reasonably open to
7-Eleven,
the public.
your convenience store shopping more convenient. But now they knew that this was going to be
that Bob walks in at 2:30 a.m. and grabs 8 bags of Funyuns.
Damn it.
He sleepwalks in and grabs Funyuns.
Your Slim Jims are
sleepwalk.
Slim Jims are ready, Mr. Waltonspiel.
Yeah, they opened that. They had a store like a year ago that only Amazon employees could go
Yep.
in, but now they open.
Yeah, we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about the routers that have been hacked?
Yeah.
A massive freaking botnet tied to the same people who hacked the Democrats, right, during the campaign. 500,000 small home office routers, including the Linksys the Netgear Nighthawk series.
Yep.
I've got an R8500 at home.
Yep.
And it's anything running like a Linux kernel, a BusyBox, is basically now... they say to reboot your router to turn it off.
And haven't you been complaining about the performance on those recently?
I have, actually, yes. It's
now, were these
part of a gigantic botnet?
Were these Like it's all Cisco. Was it? Not, it wasn't all theirs. They found
Cisco,
it.
No, Cisco's
Okay.
Threat Advanced whatever.
Yeah,
found
yeah.
it. And it's basically about a dozen router models, and even that run an actual Linux kernel are basically.
Because the way this reads, it sounds like Cisco's routers, right? Cisco's fault, right? Even though they could discovered it. That's the crazy thing about these cyber attacks is if somebody discovers it, you think it's theirs. I mean, honest to God, I read this thing twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
And I
didn't quite get it.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So this means that my strategy to keep all my old routers from like 10 years ago.
Security through obfuscation.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm the only one left that's got that Netgear N2603.
Running tomato firmware.
Exactly. But I mean, it's just no one cares about it, right? And so no one's going to spend a lot of time.
The only open IP on my house is an OS2 warp device. Good luck with that.
Okay. I've been one up. That's impressive.
I thought this weekend you go IP behind the garage.
No, so dude, we love the stupid lawsuit stories. I think my personal favorite that came across was the couple that is suing McDonald's because they were forced to pay for cheese.
Wait. Hold on. So this brings up to an interesting discovery that I had. And I'm like a once every 2 months Big Mac guy. I get this weird craving. I need my crack.
Bob, I've seen the floor of your car.
No, it's not that bad anymore.
Oh, it's usually White Castle.
Yeah. But then I noticed the Big Mac only has one piece of cheese. And I'm like, you thieving sons of bitches. And so now I have it down to a science where I ordered no lettuce because lettuce gets everywhere, 2 pieces of cheese, and they charge me for the cheese. And I go, toilet. I was so angry because I'm like, when did they drop the second piece of cheese? And sure as hell, I looked at the original Big Mac launch in like whatever, the 80s, 70s. There was 1 piece of cheese.
It's Mandela effect, Bob.
I'm like, I know. So like
Berenstain.
Right. But I didn't think to sue them. I just thought I'd order more cheese.
Right. Yeah, so it was the quarter pounder with cheese that they wanted with no cheese. And they got it with cheese and they had to pay for cheese. And so now they are each suing for $5 million.
So let's do some math.
In damages.
Can we do some math?
That's a lot of effing cheese.
40% retail for a piece of extra cheese at McDonald's.
Extra cheese, $2.
So you got 4 million. How many big quarter pounders of cheese did they order, for Christ's sake? This is like, what, 30 million quarter pounders worth of cheese?
Do they still sell regular quarter pounders without cheese? Or is that part of the problem? They just sell a quarter pounder with cheese?
They only sell it with cheese. They want it without, but you're still paying for it with.
Well, of course. But now $5 million, how much injury and suffering goes into that?
Right.
If
you overpaid by $3, sue for $3.
Oh.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like overcharging.
And plus court costs.
Right. Well, what is it at Meijer if the register reads it wrong? Is it 3? I thought it was 10.
Oh, it might be 10x. Yeah.
Either way.
Whatever.
That's the difference.
Not that I ever pay attention.
So how many pieces of cheese did you have to pay for? 8?
80 million.
Right,
Yeah.
no.
80 million pieces of cheese is what you wanted to pay for. Yeah.
Like, here's your $14 to get the hell out of my courtroom.
So apparently, I am supposed to go to Cedar Point with my kid this weekend.
No.
Sounds like fun.
Because there's a class trip. But apparently they had a power outage this weekend.
How does that?
And people got stuck on shit. I don't want to get stuck on shit.
How does that happen? Do you not have Generacs everywhere?
I don't know, but people had to get walked down the side of a roller coaster track.
No. You get a helicopter and
a winch.
Yeah, right.
I want the Top Gun rescue team.
I want a cage. I get into the cage. I'm not hanging on any rope. Like, you're walking down. Are you nuts?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. So yeah,
I get free Cedar Point for life. And screw your $4 waters. I get that for life too.
All the water I could possibly.
No, I saw videos, man. There's people like on the ground looking up, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, no. Mr. Bob.
And then there's guys going, man, look, he's already getting tan lines through his tank top. He's been up there so long.
Oh yeah, they were stuck. Not enjoyable at all.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we break there?
Absolutely.
Speaking of getting stuck.
Speaking of getting
stuck, yeah.
Speaking of stuck on a roller coaster, we got Charles Severance in the house. Should be a great conversation. This is the IT in the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read. Meet. Listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Snyder from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland. Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Episode 249, segment 2, post-Memorial Day edition of the IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. That's right, Royal Oak. This is Bob the Sales Guy. That's Dave the Geek. Nuri the FNG is in the house. Randy, I do the Twitters Walker, is sick and out of commission, so the Twitters will not be updated. Follow us online, itandthed.com, and do us a favor. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Support for today's show comes from F-Secure Freedom VPN. They say if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. But that's not true, is it? We all deserve privacy online. That's why you need F-Secure Freedom VPN, the app that encrypts all your traffic when you surf. In practice, your ISP won't see what you browse. Your traffic will remain private, even on public Wi-Fi, and your real IP address is hidden from websites you visit. Freedom is available for both mobile and desktop platforms and comes from F-Secure, a publicly listed company with a 30-year spotless record of respecting their users' privacy. Better yet, it's really easy to set up. You can have it running and become anonymous online in just 1 minute. Try F-Secure Freedom VPN for free. No credit card or email address required at fsecure.com/IT-in-the-D. That's f-secure.com/IT-in-the-D. And get 20% off with code IT-in-the-D at checkout.
They're not kidding. That thing was insanely easy to install on the phone. Crazy
Yeah,
easy.
so it's basically like downloading an app. It's super easy.
Yep.
Install a VPN profile
Button,
on iOS.
button,
You're
button.
good.
It's like setting up an Eero.
Oh, wow.
Button, a lot, like, click, 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 done.
I installed it on my Mac and I use it all the time. It's
Yeah.
been great. Speeds are great.
Yeah.
Works everywhere I go. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, cards on table, it's going to eat up a little bit of your battery because it's always running.
Of course.
But I mean, I'm better off being anonymous than
It's encrypting all your traffic.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But I'd rather be anonymous than, I can always plug in my phone. So, hey, we are joined by a super all-star guest here. Charles Severance is in the house. Your bio reads, professor, startup entrepreneur, Coursera teacher, Python.
He is such a respected individual. I am not going to make a severance package joke.
Oh, God.
But you just
Charles, when you're giving an elevator pitch on what you do, what the hell do you tell them?
I just tell them that I'm like a professor type dude that's into open source and open education.
Okay. So, I mean, we followed Coursera and the Udemy's and the online learning and whatnot. I mean, how do you go from starting off doing this to being the number 6th Coursera course ever taken and being the number 1 Python course? I mean, who would have thought Python was that popular to begin with, let alone the number 6 Coursera course? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Big data, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Python becomes the new on-ramp to technology. So even if you didn't go to college and you need some technology, Python becomes that on-ramp. And Python, for many years, was like the trash language, and so it was never in computer science curriculums. And so now it's kind of the resurgence of Python is just it's for everybody, and that's why I call the class Python for everybody. I think the interesting question though is there's probably 2,000 Python classes out there, and so how do you become the number 1 Python class out of all?
Don't put out garbage.
That's a first step, but there's actually a lot of really good ones. There's a couple things that people don't get in terms of online education, and the first thing is don't use multiple choice tests. Because multiple choice, so people put their online education in some kind of a software environment, and the thing they all have is multiple choice tests. You go I got to have a test of some kind.
C for every answer, right? C.
Abacadabra.
C.
Well, in my class, you can either pick C or if there's a 42 answer,
right.
Always pick 42.
Right.
So that's a little secret in my class is always pick 42. If
It's always the answer.
No, so I spent a ton of effort building assessments that are more like puzzles. I was inspired by Myst. And so I made it so that
old HyperCard.
Oh my God, I love that game.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
The thing I loved about the game is you're just kind of faced with a problem, and there's just no whatever. And so what happens is if you think about your first reaction to Myst, your first reaction to Myst wasn't let me figure out how to cheat as soon as possible with Myst, because what's the point if you say press this, then press that, and you can go on to the next thing? No, what happened was there was this kind of implied contract that the Myst creators made it interesting. And you wanted to honor that interest rather than just get the quickest way out. And so the problem is if you give them a multiple choice test, they will cheat. They really hate multiple choice tests.
Yeah.
And so if you can give them a series of puzzles. And so that's the only thing I did. And the other thing that I did was learning is somewhat monotonous, and so have some fun.
No.
Yeah, we're having fun in here, right? We tell
Absolutely.
jokes about light bulbs that don't come on anymore and stuff like that. And so you have to be ready to do that. You have to be ready to break down the monotony and do something silly once in a while.
Well, that's a big thing with security awareness training. All they talk about is gamifying it.
Yeah, but you gotta. I mean, that's the other thing is you're like a big professor from a big university, and that's fun to have that kind of brand. But why not put a Professor Snape on and talk about Slytherin and talk about Python and talk about snakes talking to snakes and be silly and, have music come in and act stupid once in a while. Now, not that every teacher has to have the same shtick because that would become boring, but at some point, you should be funny. You should be yourself. We're having a good time here. And that's really the stock and trade of this whole show is having a good time.
Yeah, my daughter's in 8th grade math. Sorry, Nerd. My daughter's in 8th grade math, and she texts me a problem in one of her math problems, and the teacher used a Beavis and Butthead reference because I'm like, yeah, it's about 10 years past your time, but my daughter was the only one in class that knew the reference because I made her watch.
That's a good parent right there. That is
right,
a really
right.
good parent.
Absolutely.
What are they teaching you?
And I think you have to be interesting too, because if you're doing online learning, you've got all these distractions just built into your screen.
Right.
You've got your notifications popping up on the right-hand side. You've got Facebook blinking at you. All these things. You have to do something to keep people's attention. Otherwise, it's just going to blend into the background. They're going to Facebook while they half-ass listen to your class.
Right. And so that's the other thing is like one of the things that I do that very few other people do is I scribble on everything. And so so I don't just have a slide and talk for 5 minutes and flip to the next slide. And I'm like, I'll start, and they tease me because slowly but surely I've drawn so much on the slide that I obscure it. But you got to make it so that it feels like you're, as the teacher, investing something in this relationship. You're not just phoning it in. I got in trouble once by using too many of my own lectures on campus, and the students liked the idea that they didn't have to come to class, but then they kind of thought, you're just a lazy bum. You don't have to come to class either. And so they thought it was great that they didn't have to come to class.
Wasn't that Real Genius where at one point in time it's a reel-to-reel talking to a room full of recorders?
But then what they didn't do in that show is show how the student evaluations at the end of the semester turned out. And what happens is they're like, I really like not having to come to class, but this lazy scumbag didn't come to class either, and I think I got cheated. I'm like, well, you didn't. And so the point being,
but did you learn?
Well, right. And so, but the point being is there's sort of this expectation that if you're going to learn, that this person who's your teacher better be investing something in that relationship and make it valuable for you and interesting for you, and tell a story have a story.
So, I mean, we talk about this all the time with IT, and we kind of had a dissenting opinion in the green room.
Yeah.
What about not needing to go to college to be in IT?
That's my favorite moot question because this thing all started in 2012, right? And Stanford had these courses that they made open, and 160,000 showed up for one, and whatever, and then 160,000 showed up for the next one, and that kind of created the companies Coursera and Udacity. And edX, and those all came out of that. And the first conclusion is, well, we don't need college anymore. I mean, it's perfect, right? And so I've been doing this a long time, and I've been on the inside from the very beginning. And this is the conclusion that I reach, and that is that if every 18-year-old could go to a residential college and get away from their parents and go into a relatively safe environment in which to go from being a child to a grown-up, that is a wise investment. Now, you notice I didn't mention anything about what you learned during that time. It's a growth period, but learning turns out to be a good excuse. And so this is where a good liberal arts education at a residential school is a great way for someone to grow up and gain a little knowledge about how to deal with people, how to deal with people that are different than you. In high school, everyone looked like you. In college, they don't all look like you. And I don't think you can capture that and stick it in a browser, right? But then if you've done that and you know how to deal with people, then at that point you can add Python skill without actually coming back to campus. And I think that's the thing that people come back to get a master's degree after they've got an undergraduate degree. I think that's what we're going to replace is the need to come back to campus to gain additional knowledge. But I think I think we're going to find that that 4 years is going to become even more precious with this panoply, this cornucopia of a wonderful online education.
A plethora, if you will.
Plethora, yes. Exactly. A whole bunch. A lot. We're going to find that this residential education is going to change and become even more rich about being together and being with people and learning how the world works and those kinds of things that you can't do. But tech stuff, man, it's so easy to skill up and from Udemy or from Coursera or whatever, and it's really cool. I once gave a talk and I asked the people how many people had taken an online class, and a few people threw their hands up, and I said, how many people got a master's degree online? A bunch of people put their hands up. Then I thought I was going to get them, and I said, how many people have got a bachelor's degree online where you never went to class? And I'm like, I got you. And one person put their hand up, and I'm like, you in the back, you come up and talk to me afterwards. Like I kind of didn't win at that point because I thought sure no one was going to get a bachelor's online. So she comes up to me and I go, okay, what's your story? And she goes, I was in the military. I go, stop right there. Right. So the military is where she grew up.
Right.
She learned to work with people and she had it all figured out. Right. She'd been in the military. She came out and all she needed was knowledge. And so that she was 24 and she knew how to be a 24-year-old.
Right.
And so all she needed was knowledge. And so she could take an online bachelor's. But I just don't think that any parent, and that's the next thing I do to people is I say, okay, you have kids. Here's the choice. You can get a free community college education in your basement. Your kid stays in your basement for 4 years and learns all kinds of great stuff. Or you can send for free your kid to University of Michigan. What do you choose? And they go like, blah, 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 blah. And the answer is, of course, you're going to choose to send them to University of Michigan.
Right.
If I tell you you're going to get the same stuff, you're just like, well, wait a sec. But I want my kid to go to the University of Michigan. I want my kid to interact with all the cool stuff and meet cool people and like be formed as a human being. That's what we're doing. It's not that we are a substitutable knowledge pouring into kids' heads, but it is an amazing way to create someone who's 18 to being, and that's the other thing. You see them coming in and they're crying and they're like confused and they start flunking classes. And then you meet them again at graduation. They're standing up straight and every single one of them knows what they're doing with their lives. And that's what they got, not the Python class that I happen to teach.
Right. Well, and I think that's one of the issues. I mean, because I know we've talked about this before that, you know, the idea of taking an 18-year-old and saying, okay, go make a decision what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Right.
Is dumb.
It's insane.
I mean, I graduated with degrees that have nothing to do with what I do day to day and have nothing to do with what we're doing with this or with any of the other little side projects we have going on. And I do think that's the thing. Like when we talk about, you don't necessarily need a degree to get into IT. Like a lot of the people we're dealing with the Career Academy thing are people that are past that. Like people that are, they're in their, mid to late 20s, 30s, 40s, or even beyond. They have life experience and they just need the education to get them.
Displaced retail, displaced manufacturing, dead end jobs, right? That's what we're dealing with.
Now, the question to me is, I can teach them and I've taught a million plus people. And the question is then, how do you get that first job now that you have the life experience, you have the skill that you got from these online classes?
You come see Bob and Dave, who have a network of recruiters waiting to hire you.
True story.
So that's a pretty good answer, actually. That's a pretty good answer. It's not exactly the one that I give them, but it's equivalent to the one that I give them. And I said, go to meetups, which is kind of the same thing.
Yep,
same thing.
Because you guys are kind of like a virtual meetup ultimately.
Yep. No, we are
do 2 in-person meetups every month.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I say, just show up in the back, listen, right? Because ultimately what happens, and this is what I tell them, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong about this. If you're a company and you're going to post a job for an entry-level Python programmer, you might get 50,000 applications.
Yep.
And so the problem is that no one ever posts them. And then you're sitting at a meetup and someone says, God, I need a beginning Python program in my place so bad. I can't seem to find anybody. And it's like, yeah, if you posted it, you'd have 50,000, but then that would be a different problem. Yep. So what happens at the meetup is you hear this person go like, oh God, I need a Python programmer. And you go like, I just took a Python class. And it's like, how much you need? Well, I only need like $30,000 to get started because I'm a junior programmer. And they're like, when can you start? And then boom. And so what happened is that you guys are doing it, right? You're creating a place for people to sort of approach each other, which if they were 22, it'd be called an internship.
Yep.
Well, that was when we did the Pink Slip parties. The best feedback we ever got was the recruiters were saying, "Hey, I got a job opening. I'm meeting 5 here. I'm interviewing 3, and I'm hiring 1. My speed to hire has gone from months to a week and a half, 2 weeks."
And there are stacks upon stacks of resumes that are just keywords, right?
Yeah,
they're just like schlepping.
Oh yeah,
C++, Python, JavaScript, React. Just as many things as you can throw into a PDF as you can.
Part of resumes, though, is that they're first read by a computer.
Correct.
Right? So you put all those terms in there. You get to a sorcerer who doesn't know anything about anything, who will at least call you, right? So
I feel like we had this conversation on a panel recently.
Maybe that's place called Penguicon, the same place
Yeah, that's where we were
got
there.
together. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and so that's so your advice and my advice are the same, and that's go to meetups. And I've heard some stories then. So this is the ones that ask me, but then I've heard people who just completely changed their lives, and then they would go to conferences, right? And this woman, she went to a conference, and then she was in geotagging of stuff and GIS systems, and she was like working on open source software and doing all this stuff. And then finally she went to the conference and she's like, I don't think I'm coming to the next conference, man. I kind of ran out of money. I got to get a job. And they're like, you don't have a job in this field?
Right.
Snatch. And there she goes, right? And now her rest of her life has changed because she had just rubbed shoulders with all these people, and they'd grown to know and love and respect her, and they couldn't let her go.
We had .NET guys show up at our last meetup at Embrew, and I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing here?
Looking for a job?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. How long you been out of work? 4 weeks. Do you not want a job?
Right. That's the problem. That's the thing about .NET. .NET's one of those things where like no one wants to learn it, but there's a lot of jobs for it, and so it's like COBOL programmers. At some point, if you're a
Java
COBOL
10 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
If
you're the last one, you do pretty well.
Well, COBOL, because Big Iron ain't never going away.
It ain't.
Yeah.
IBM's cranking that stuff out. I mean, they still are cranking that stuff out, and things where things like turnstiles for subways and stuff. I don't think they're running Linux boxes on that stuff.
Nope.
And Walmart's inventory control is all IBM mainframe stuff still.
Yeah.
And we love Linux boxes, and they're good for a lot of things, except for routers, apparently. So yeah.
So I guess
what do you think about GDPR? That's an interesting thing because you're
that's
in
where we
education
opened
space.
it. Yeah, that's where we opened it. And this is where I'm going to there's a word we're not allowed to say, and I'm going to try to avoid saying it. But
starts with an F.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, there's only one.
Yeah. No. So here's the thing. I believe that education data and teaching and learning data needs to be held to almost as high a standard as health data, but a far higher standard than social data. And the basic the contract that we have with Facebook is if I take a selfie of me drinking a beer and I put it up, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I got 300 friends and they're the only ones going to see it. And if 305 people see it, I'm not going to cry because I kind of knew that maybe someone would show the picture of me to somebody else or whatever.
Right.
So I know when I'm dealing with Facebook as an adult that the picture I take probably is going to escape, right?
Is that an implied consent thing?
Well, it's just kind of I know enough about the thing by using the software that my little picture might escape a little bit, and it's okay.
When you're not paying for a service, you are the service.
Or you're the beta tester. That's my saying. Because I'm a startup guy, you're the beta tester.
Or you have a bunch of idiot friends who like to share your shit all over the internet, right?
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, but the thing about educational stuff is there are people, whether they're 12-year-old children that are using software at the schools where your kids are going to, there is no consent whatsoever, and they are believing. They don't think about the cloud. They don't think about the life cycle of data. They think that when they write a little thing on their computer, it's going to go to the teacher's desk and then vanish like a week later. But really, they got a large data exhaust. And the scary thing that I think about is a little kid writes a paper about their view on freedom and democracy. And it's a little cloud company that gets bought by a Russian oligarch, and that child is running for president 25 years later, and the Russians come out and say, look at this paper this kid wrote when they were 12 years old. And that kid never even had a chance to say no to the loss of that data. At least if you're going to a medical place, you kind of know they're taking a picture of your stomach or whatever.
Right.
But these educational people, and I'll give you an even worse scenario, is let's take there's a kid that's a refugee from sort of war area, say like Syria, and they finally escape and they're going to school in England or something. And then this school in England decides that they're going to outsource all the data to a U.S. company. And then the U.S. can go look at that data without even telling the school that they're looking at it. And so it's just, for me, education, I get red in the face when I think about the travesty. And so to me, today, and yesterday and the day before and tomorrow, we are laying the groundwork of a Cambridge Analytica 10 years from now, right? So the data.
Oh, I don't think it'll be 10 years.
But the data is being handed to third-party actors who have no real urge to protect the people that they think that their data is then going to make them more money, as compared to their first goal is to protect that. And I've been in higher ed IT for a long time, and I remember in the 70s how carefully we thought about, even before there was a network, we thought about like our backup tapes.
Yep.
And what we should do with those backup tapes. And we would have meetings to think about free speech and how email should be backed up and how long the backup should be retained in email. And so we in the IT organization, we had this sort of backbone where we protected our faculty and staff, and they didn't even have to come to us and say, please protect me. We just thought that was our job.
Yeah, they didn't even realize
we were protecting them. And today, they're not being protected. That stuff is just kind of just exhausting all over the place.
Well, someone's writing a really, really big check to get it. That's
no, not only that, but I mean, you've got,
it's not always a big check. Sometimes these companies go down and then they're bought for pennies on the dollar, and then the data exhaust goes with it.
Sure.
Well, no, so I mean, it's also just a huge shift in the landscape. I mean, back in the day, it was, your IT department was there were the wizards that sat in the back room and would appear every now and then in a cloud of smoke, and nobody understood what the hell they did. And these days, that's still true, but everybody thinks they know what they do. And so you've got, and we've talked about it, whether it's shadow IT and, hey, I'm whipping out the company card and I'm standing up an Amazon Web Services stack to go ahead and get something live because IT said it's going to take 6 months to get it done properly according to process and procedure, and I can have that done in 5 minutes. And it's a different world now where people don't think about security and they don't understand it at all.
Yeah, they just think of convenience. It's like it's like the internet when it first came out. It was all convenience. It was all about convenience. And you used to be able to like root log into your neighbor's computer just because people didn't do that back when the internet was small, right? And like, oh wow, people really are going to log in as root on each other's computers?
Yep.
Well, Charles, I mean, the thing is, like, I sell security, right? And there's that age old. I will not say this in a meeting, but what's the cost of a breach? And that number's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Straight up. Like unadulterated, like Target sales went up, Wendy's sales went up,
Facebook usage went up.
Facebook usage went up with the breach. These companies are not getting, the CIOs and the CISOs are not getting sued like we all were told they would. It just does. There's no repercussion.
That's one of my dreams. Is like some IT person who outsourced something like has to do a perp walk, right? That sometime in the future, but except it's interestingly, it's the Cambridge Analytical people that keep doing the perp walk, not the people that handed the Cambridge Analytical the data.
Right.
But the fact that Facebook usage went up, not just users.
Yeah, we were talking about being a frog, right? We were talking in the last segment about being the frog. It's a ratchet effect. And the IT stuff, as it becomes more and more convenient, you cross a boundary, and then you just cross the next boundary, and then you just cross the next boundary. And I just wish that somebody would like wake up and say, are we just going down the wrong path a little too far by outsourcing all this stuff? And so I'm an open source guy. I believe in institutions controlling their own data, especially critical data, and I'm not so worried about using Amazon as I am about handing your data to a piece of software in the cloud. Because if you have that Amazon server, you can format its hard drive, right? You can encrypt data at rest. There's a lot of things that you can do. I don't think every university needs to own their own hardware. I think they can use Amazon or Google or Microsoft, but they need to know when they formatted the hard drive, when they have deleted what they think is the last backup. Because that notion that somehow Amazon's going to keep your backup anyways, well, maybe they will, but that's you got to assume that people are decent actors. But I'm more worried about the company that's got the data and then is about to go out of business and is purchased by a Russian oligarch for pennies on the dollar, who takes the data exhausted and just sticks it in the thing like at the end of Indiana Jones when they're putting a thing in and wait till you run for president to pull the data back out.
Or buys used servers or used SAN equipment out of their data centers.
I heard about the copy machines, right? They're going to the hard drives.
What?
You didn't read that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's somebody went and bought used copy machines that turn out to put on their hard drive every single copy ever made.
Good God.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
So
thanks, IoT.
No, that's not even IoT. That's
That's just
local
a
storage. Yeah.
You know what that probably is as a software developer? That's probably I did that for debugging purposes and then forgot to turn it off because I want to be able to go in and figure out what went wrong. But that we have to come up with a philosophy, and I think we're a decade away from people actually embracing this, where data has this kind of it just sort of vanishes. It sort of it decomposes after a while. And so if you have data on a kid that is 12 years old, it's their essay, you want that data to just sort of 3 weeks later to start to fade, and then 6 weeks later start to fade, and eventually it just is gone.
Can we give it half-life like carbon?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've been talking to folks from companies that are actually really forward-looking, and this is the philosophy that it's not like and what you have to do is you have to assume that people are sort of good. So you say, look, I've given you this data, and it should have a half-life of 6 months. And if you want it again 6 months from now because the person logs back in, I'll give it to you again. But why don't you just kind of like let it go? Don't hold on to it.
You look at the basketball player, what was it, from Villanova that quoted rap lyrics when he was 12. Exactly. And he's going to get in the NBA draft. And right now it's severely hindering his because it came out right after they won. They looked through his history, found he said a bad word.
And my daughter had this happen. She's a K-12 teacher, and I probably should put this on the radio, but she's a K-12 teacher. And when she was a junior, they basically said, "We've just admitted you into the College of Education, and you're going to be a teacher. We think you're all great people, but for the next 3 months, we are going to go through every historical thing we can find about you on the internet. And if it isn't clean, if we can find something about you with a margarita on spring break when you were high school, you're going to be kicked out because you are not suitable to be a teacher if we can find that stuff on you."
Which is so no, dude, that's a real concern. Like, so I've got teachers that live in my neighborhood, and they come over and they hang out on the back deck and they have drinks every now and then. And that's a real concern for them. Like, they don't even, like, they will not go to a bar within like a 10-mile radius of the school.
My ex-wife would actually she did not have her real name on her Facebook profile because she was so afraid.
Same with my daughter.
Of students finding her.
So my kids saw all our teachers at Chelly's at Polish night at Comerica Park.
So another,
and wouldn't go near them. She
So another thing that happened to my daughter is that she was taking a class in a master's degree where she was required to use some of these cloud-based services to create like a this or a that or a blog post or whatever, and created effectively a public exhaust of her education. She was required in that class to create a public footprint.
Right.
And then later there was a conflict where people started going and looking at that stuff, and she had to go and undo all of those things so that they would expire out of the search history. And so I guess the key thing that I would that I want to leave us all with is that education data is different than social data. To me, I hold it to a far higher bar because of the lack of consent and the forced kind of thing where you're going to use this software and we're not going to let you graduate unless you type your essay into this piece of software. And I just forced you to reveal your data to a third party that might then sell it to a fourth party or a fifth party or the Russian oligarchs 10 years from now. And so you can't graduate unless I did that. And so it's this consent by which you can't actually say no, or
which
you
is
don't.
not consent.
Well, yeah.
Right.
And so I know a university in Europe that you apply, you come in, and there's a little box that says your data is going to be stored in the United States. To use this system, continue, press OK. Boink. And then literally, otherwise you just have to go back where you came from and leave this university. If you don't press OK on that one box.
Wow.
You can't go to that college. And basically you just this was back in Privacy Shield days.
Right.
Where it's 2 years ago. But basically you pretty much can't go. You just got admitted to school. And the first thing they ask you to do is click an OK box that basically says we use U.S. services. And European law would suggest we shouldn't do that, but that's what we decided to do.
Well, that's one of the stories we actually didn't get to was the stupid one that I shared out on the Facebook page about the lady that went to go buy a car, and the car dealership made her check the box that said, "I am not a robot."
Oh my God!
I saw that
on a physical piece of paper.
And of course, then you saw the one where the robot goes and clicks the box, and the robot turns and smiles at the camera after it says it's not a robot.
We're coming up on a break, Charles. How do we can we find you online, or how do we take your course?
You just look for Dr. Chuck, and you'll find me. And
Dr. Chuck Python.
And Python for Everybody is the name of the course.
Awesome. Great conversation. We
Thanks.
can have you on every week, honestly, talking about this stuff. We love it.
I'll stick around.
We're going to take a quick
wanna hear
break.
what's next.
We're going to be back with Star Wars geek. Can I call you that? Dave Santia. We're going to be talking Solo. Spoiler alert, we're getting deep in the movie, so just fair warning. This is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Segment 3, episode 249, the IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. It's only Bob the Sales Guy and Dave the Geek. Nuri bowed out. Did not want to be spoiled.
Solo.
So if you, we're talking Solo with Dave Santia. So if you don't want to be spoiled, come back to this segment after you've seen the movie.
Right.
Hey, this segment is brought to you by our friends at Huawei. Introducing the Huawei MateBook X Pro, winner of 27 awards at the Mobile World Congress, including Best of Show Laptop, Best Innovation, Best Design, Editor's Choice, and Reader's Choice. Wow.
Good.
With Windows Hello, you can unlock your Huawei MateBook X Pro with a touch of your fingerprint. Secure, fast, no password to remember. The Huawei MateBook X Pro now available at Microsoft stores, Amazon, and Newegg.com. For a limited time, get a free $300 gift card with purchase. Visit a Microsoft store near you today, or Amazon or Newegg. Wow.
Yeah, cool.
The Huawei MateBook
like
X
Newegg.
Pro.
Check them out.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
So I've seen it twice now.
Okay. I'm still one time at the Dolby.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
So the Dolby Theater at AMC 30, that had to have been the loudest movie.
Most ass rumbling.
I thought I
sound
gasped from the
system.
popcorn. No, that was the loudest. That was the cool. We had like the front row where you could put your feet out, recliners. I can't. I'm afraid.
I deliberately got the row right behind the handicap section, so that we had like nobody in front of us. Nice big legroom area.
My 11-year-old has tubes. I'm like, I don't think I could bring Magdalena to this movie because like this is so loud. But God, what an immersive experience! Honest to God.
Yeah, I was in the auditorium right next door to you guys.
Oh, you got the cheap theater.
Yep.
Your brother messed that one up. So I mean, let's.
No, that was me. That was my call.
I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to attack the still butthurt fanboys from episodes 7 and 8.
Dude, I got into an argument with Jamie about this on his Facebook wall.
I don't argue anymore on Facebook. If you notice, I stayed the hell away from that. Jamie's one of those butthurt fanboys.
Yeah.
And if you take Solo as a standalone movie,
which you're supposed to,
right?
Right, which is a standalone movie but connected.
Yeah,
it was. I know I always say this, but God damn, it was as close to perfect as I could have wished or hoped for.
Well, I gotta agree. A lot of the butthurt fanboys from what I've seen and from what I'm sure that you've all seen too, is they're upset over the last movie, The Last Jedi, because it didn't go the way they wanted it to go. They wanted more. I guess they wanted more Luke action. I don't know what they wanted. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It is what it is.
It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
And they were upset because the kid that plays Han in this one doesn't look like a clone of
Harrison Ford.
Right, but then
which is the stupidest reason to not like.
But then they redo Star Trek, and Wonder Woman's boyfriend did a pretty goddamn good job.
Yeah, I mean,
they
don't look anything.
You don't want him to talk like Shatner.
No.
In those redos, you want him to be him.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
because then it's ridiculous. It becomes a caricature.
Well, for the Solo movie, a lot of fans wanted that. There's that kid that guy that's on Facebook, YouTube or whatever. What's his name? Anthony Gruber.
Oh yeah.
He does a pretty good job of doing a Han Solo impression. Now it's like, what do you want? Do you want an actor or do you want a YouTuber playing the lead role? And this is a multi-million-dollar movie. Did they actually think that Disney or Lucasfilm
was going to bank? Yeah.
They're going to put the lead role, give the lead role to a guy who has
no acting experience, and he's famous because he does a good impersonation on YouTube.
Well, and honestly, like that's the one.
Go hire a stand-up comic then. You know what I
Well,
mean?
no, because I'll kind of disagree with you, Bob. I think you do want. I think you want the voice and speech patterns to be similar if it's supposed to be the same character.
Right.
Because to me, that's one of the issues that I do have with this movie is that the actor that played Lando, to me, is so much better than the actor that played Han.
That's not even a question. It's
because
true.
the actor that
Well-
played Lando was dead on.
Yeah, he was
Speech, mannerisms, expressions.
I'll agree
nailed
with
it.
that, but you know what though? I mean, they auditioned 3,000 people for the role of Han.
Yeah.
And I mean, 3,000, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not like they called up this Alden, what's his last name? How do you
I have no idea.
Not a clue.
It's German. You speak German, right?
Yeah. Doesn't mean I know his last name.
Hey, don't you guys all know each other?
Right. Don't you guys, aren't you buddies?
No.
I can't pronounce it. Eidenreich? I
have no idea.
I don't know. Whatever.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich is okay. Now they picked him out of a lineup of 3,000 people. And I don't know for sure if this Anthony and Gruber guy, if he auditioned or not. I heard that he did, but I can't find anything solid. But you know what though? He's popular enough where I'm sure Lucasfilm and Disney and the cast
Threw him a bone and at least had him. Yeah.
I'm sure that they've heard.
They're aware of
know
who he
him.
is. Yes.
Exactly. And then there was that other guy, that Jamie Costa, who I really think doesn't really look much like a young Harrison Ford. He did a fan film.
No, but even like X-Men with the prequels, like no one was identical. They were kind of close, but no one got mad at that. It's so funny to me how Marvel and those universes can come out with a clean wipe of their ass. Where Star Wars farts a little bit, and then you gotta need a fire hose to clean up the mess.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying burn the building down because the movie sucked. I'm just saying, to me, that was the one thing I noticed was that the actor playing Lando was infinitely better in my mind.
Yeah, well, he was.
Han.
It doesn't mean the guy playing Han was worse. It just meant the guy playing Lando was better.
I wouldn't say better.
That's exactly what that means.
No, it doesn't make it doesn't make the movie worse because one guy was really good.
The movie, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say better, but I would say that he was definitely more identical to Lando.
More screen accurate.
Yes, yeah, there you go. More screen accurate.
Well, I mean, let's go through casting because I think a lot of people were worried about Woody Harrelson, and dude, that was kind of an awesome character.
It really was.
I didn't go into it going Sydney drain the 3 or go to the hole or you know what I mean.
Right.
He's done so many iconic characters in our life, but he did. I mean, I liked him. I didn't
dislike him.
No.
I mean, to him, I was indifferent. I liked the little nod to Return of the Jedi with Woody Harrelson's disguise.
Oh, absolutely, with the guard.
He was wearing Lando's guard disguise.
The one casting that bothered me, Dave, and we have this argument all the time, is when we talk about Captain Kirk and then becoming Wonder Woman's boyfriend a year later, or Ryan Reynolds be superhero,
right?
And they're so back to back. Like all I thought about was Infinity War just came out, and now you're gonna have Vision play like the bad guy in this, and all I saw was Vision with like marker on his face.
Sure,
and it trashed. It trashed his character.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I did not even notice that.
Did you?
That never even clued me.
It bothered the shit out of me every time he spoke. All I saw was Vision.
Oh, so that didn't honestly. I thought Emilia Clarke was going to throw me off.
No, she was cool.
Yeah.
Dark hair.
I'm curious as to where they're going with that character, especially with that ending.
Yeah. Are we going to jump into that?
Well, no, we'll get into that in a bit.
All right.
Let's still talk about the butthurt fanboys.
Because the phrase that I've heard over and over and over again about The Last Jedi, and this is where I got into it with Jamie, was the words forced feminism.
Oh, you know what? Bullshit. You know what? Whoever thinks about, okay, we got 10 Star Wars movies? And 11 if you count the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
11 movies, and we have 3 of them with a strong female lead.
Right.
What are you crying about?
No, it wasn't that. It was, and I talked about it with Nick before the show, and I said, listen, I go, the one thing I didn't want, it followed Rogue One with the quirky droid, and then the droid becomes a social justice warrior, and it's kind of like, and it's like, to me, a droid is kind of like C-3PO, where it's a droid.
It's an appliance,
right? You're teaching it wit,
all this,
and
all the stuff, the new Star Wars, in regards to the new Star Wars movies since Disney bought the franchise, all the stuff that fanboys are hating on about these movies, I didn't even think about it while I was watching it. I didn't even think about,
I rolled my eyes a couple times.
Yeah, me too.
But it didn't ruin the movie.
Well, no, see, to me, I
rolled my eyes at the complaints. I'm like, really complaining
totally.
about that?
Yeah.
I said that was when I got to it. I go, if I'm going to complain about anything, it's going to be the stupid quirky droid.
Well, so to me, the droid in this one, I couldn't figure out if it was supposed to be stereotypical black woman or Iggy Azalea. Like it had to have supposed to have been one of the two, just with the exagerated,
at least you didn't talk like Wanda Sykes and say,
Yeah.
No, but still,
I had no issues with this droid. Even I had no issues with it. I like the idea that they put the personality or the memory of that droid into the Millennium.
See that to me
so now Han just stole his ship and he took his best friend.
Yeah,
that's some dastardly shit. Because Lando was shook up when he thought she was gone.
Yeah.
And we're like, that was some deep relationship going on. And now it's like,
he refused to erase the droid's memory.
Right.
He says it was because of
had the best hypernav system or hypernavigational system in the galaxy.
You couldn't save that part and delete the rest, because aren't they supposed to have the droids? They're supposed to have memory wipes so they don't develop a personality on their own and start acting on their own.
Yeah.
So did you one of the biggest plot holes that would have ever came out of 4, was who pays for all this shit, right? For all the X-wings and all the Y-wings and all the
that's all paid for by
selling the fuel. But we didn't know that, so now it's like when the coolest group was that the 15-year-old girl. It was the Marauder,
the Marauders,
yeah. How awesome character was that? But she's gonna hey, we're gonna fund the rebellion. I'm like, that's awesome, because again, who pays for all this?
Well, beforehand, I always thought that it was the Royal House of Alderaan.
Or it was funded by the Empire just so they could have someone to fight, so they could sell parts, or
the rebellion is their own version of Afghanistan.
Right. They fund the rebels and then fight them.
Hey,
bad.
Right. Another thing is, there was a lot of people saying that they were going to boycott this movie because they didn't like the last movie. Well, because they want to show Lucasfilm, they want to send a message basically saying this is we don't want this.
Do it the way we want it. Yeah. I'm not going to see it.
You know what? This movie was so good. This last one, this Solo movie, was so good that boycotting it is probably a really bad way to show Disney and Lucasfilm what kind of Star Wars movies you want. This is the type of movie that we do want.
Well, it made $150 million on the box office, and everybody's saying it's a colossal failure, even though it's but I get it. It's Memorial Day. Memorial Day is not a weekend for seeing movies. Let's be honest.
No,
we're picnicking, we're barbecuing, we're at the pool.
But in the Lucas Star Wars world, it is.
Well, you know what? It was probably a bad idea because people were leaving for vacation on Thursday and Friday.
Right.
And they're not back until today.
Well, but if you, they've always released Memorial Day weekend. That was the big to-do when 7 was coming out, that it was going to be a Christmas release and not Memorial Day weekend.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So domestic total, it's at $103 million.
Domestic, international is 150, whatever. Again, I don't think that's a colossal. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
It's probably not where they expected.
Worldwide, you're at 172.
But here's what I don't get. Everyone that I talked to and everyone that ever saw it was like, it was really good, right? Yeah. Nobody's not saying it's the most amazing thing ever. But then you look at the Rotten Tomatoes and the audience score, 60%, 70%. And it's like, when you look at all the other Star Wars, they're in the 95,
Yeah,
8,
you know what? When I start judging my movie-going opinions based on what the critic from the Christian Science Monitor says, kill me.
No, but
or recognize that I'm under duress.
We rent movies based on Rotten Tomato score. If there's no movies that I know. That one's got a 95. I think we rented a couple cool movies just because of that.
Yeah, the only time I ever see a movie based on a Rotten Tomato score or a critic's rating is if I'm extremely bored and I really need something to do.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when we rent movies at home and we're bored and there's nothing else on.
If it's a movie that I want to see, like Solo, I'll see it. I'll
So
see it. And I'll make my own judgment, after I'm done.
So was I wrong in assuming that was R2-D2 on the left side of the screen during that one scene? I saw an R2 unit.
Really?
Because I'm looking for C-3PO and R2-D2.
Well, and that was one of the, it's like, so is Warwick Davis.
Did you see the R2 unit?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I missed it.
Well, but I saw that, but I didn't see 3PO. And so I didn't see 3PO.
Although Anthony Daniels was in the movie.
He was.
He's a voice. He's a voice.
He was a voice, and he was a background character.
Well, so that was my question is because Warwick Davis was
you couldn't miss him.
Continued but he was the one that had the streak going for a while of because you've had 3PO and R2 in every single movie.
But Warwick Davis, I don't know if you've been reading or looking at any YouTube videos or not. He's the continued character from Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it's the same character.
Whatever his name, Weasel or whatever the hell his name was. And then Jon Favreau, who I don't know who he's got naked pictures of, man. He goes from Iron Man to now he's a voice in Star Wars for that one, the raccoon character from Guardians, whatever, the guy that died.
Yeah.
Like that. Cause I knew that voice sounded familiar and I'm like, I had to look, but here's the one thing, and I'm going to drop the bomb right now. I looked at IMDb. There's no Ray Park on there. We saw a little
he's
bit.
on there.
I didn't know. I just looked at it this weekend.
No, right after I saw I saw him on there the next day, Friday. He's way down at the bottom.
So if you just dropping the bomb right now, we got a little, Daenerys goes and opens up her little, the little viewfinder, and here's Darth Maul.
Yeah,
Ray Park as Maul according to IMDb.
Threw me for a loop.
Damn, because I looked at the next day after we saw it, and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And it was Ray, and it sure as hell was Ray Park because Dave was like, "No, it might be a different." I go, "No, dude, you know that guy's face." It's 18 years later after, it's 19 years later after episode 1. But he's got the octopus legs just like the Clone Wars. So now, I was talking about, hey, they threw away all the books.
Is it Clone Wars or Rebels?
I don't know.
Clone Wars. He had. I think it was Clone Wars where he had the spider legs. No,
I think it's Rebels where they brought him back.
No, they brought him back in Clone Wars, but he had the I'm trying to remember where he had the regular just 2 legs. I think he had them.
I didn't follow the cartoons that close. You guys got to help me on that one.
Yeah, no, he was in both. He was in Clone Wars and he was in Rebels.
So what? So if you followed it, he wasn't in 4. So now you have Vader and Maul and Palpatine Emperor going on at the same time.
Right. But Maul is no longer a Sith. He's just a dark side.
So someone had to bring him back to life.
Well, yeah, that would be the writers. I mean, if you want. But no, what happened was he never died. He was cut in half.
Yeah. Cauterize the wounds. I get that.
Yeah, magically.
Right.
Obviously no.
He's got to wear a colostomy bag now. I get that, but
no major. Obviously, no major organs were
right.
Were
just cut him right through the hip bones.
Right.
Well, what happened? How it goes is. George Lucas, when they were doing the Clone Wars cartoon, George Lucas told the writers, "I want you to bring back Darth Maul." And they're like, how are we going to do that? You cut him in half. I don't know. Figure it out. Give him spider legs. And then they did. They gave him the spider legs, and then he got the regular.
God, wouldn't that have been better if that was Grievous in goddamn episode 2?
Actually,
now I get angry.
I would have. Well, Grievous was in episode 3, but I would have.
No,
personally.
2.
No, 3.
Was it?
100%.
God damn it.
You called me in here for a reason.
Go on.
Wrong room to argue about.
Go on. Right.
You called me in this studio for a reason. Anyways, I would have preferred that Darth Maul survived until episode 3 rather than Count Dooku. I just didn't care much.
That was
Willy Wonka's dad, man.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Saruman.
That is the interesting thing. So now you've got Maul floating around, pre
Yeah, when that
episode 4.
Right.
Yeah, when that reveal, okay, when she's talking, when at the end, when Han Solo's girlfriend is talking,
Kira,
whatever she is to him,
Daenerys.
Yeah. Whenever she's talking to at the end of the movie, when she's talking to this hologram of this cloaked figure, I thought it was going to be Snoke. I think a lot of people did too. I thought it was going to be the Emperor.
I thought Palpatine.
Yeah, no, I thought Snoke for sure. And then when the hood came down and it was revealed that it was Darth Maul, I was blown away. I put
my arms up. I'm like, "Why are you kidding me?"
I was like, I can't believe that.
Now, see, and to me, that's the moment. Like, it still to this day bugs me that they revealed the two-sided lightsaber in the trailers. Like, that should have been a theater reveal.
Oh, you're talking about when
Maul
for the Phantom Menace trailer.
Like that should have been a theater
You
reveal.
didn't need to drop that in a
that
trailer.
made everybody lose their mind, because that's what happened when when the cloak comes back and it's Maul.
Yeah,
you could hit the entire theater went.
Yeah,
but how? I mean, going back though, how spaghetti western is it where they're actually robbing an effing train?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like we saw the thing in the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
No one knew what the hell it was.
And two showdowns too.
Right.
Two of them.
Oh yeah, you got the
There was
side
the one
view.
where
That's right.
there was
Remember,
the one-
kids, Han shoots first.
Right.
Oh, yeah. This movie
that was
proves it. This movie proves it.
That was a good question too. Where did Han get that badass blaster? And it totally makes sense.
Yeah,
because Woody had just a plethora of weapons. Like here, dude, here's a little pistol.
Well, it was interesting. I think he broke down a rifle to get the components for that pistol. Which
is that what that was? Oh,
because he was sitting there breaking it apart
Right.
and putting different pieces together and then threw it at him.
Well, one thing about this movie is that the main story of the movie, Han's origin, was actually developed by Harrison Ford and George Lucas back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were skeptical of this movie, of course, for a number of reasons that we talked about earlier. The script was given to Harrison Ford to read before they started production, and he gave the approval on the script. He wasn't involved in the movie other than approving the script and the storyline. The basic elements.
Oh, match up with everything we knew.
It was all which all came from him and Lucas. And he also had, approved of Alden, the actor. And, of course, gave him tips on how to play the character. Now, Harrison Ford, screw what the fanboys say. Harrison Ford, he's already seen the movie twice by the time I saw it.
Yep.
And he said that the kid nailed it. And but the thing is about this movie, you can't go, if you haven't seen this movie, you can't go into this movie expecting to see the Han Solo that we know from the original trilogy.
It took 3/4 of the movie to evolve into that.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what I mean. Like it didn't become a Star Wars movie until at least 3/4 of the way in for me.
Yeah,
which was fine.
Well, you know what?
It didn't feel like Star Wars in the beginning. At all.
Well, the thing is, you can't go in expecting it to be the Han Solo that we know from the original trilogy because he's not that guy yet.
Right. Yeah. This is the beginning of the evolution of that character.
This shows about how he gets to becoming that guy, and then towards the end, he's still not that guy, but he's closer to being that guy.
Yeah.
When I was 20 years old, I wasn't the same guy as I was when I was 30.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God. Yeah.
All
right.
I mean, you're just not that guy. Attitudes change.
And who thought it was going to be like a Rancor or some shit when he got dropped in the pit? Like, thank God that's how like the Chewbacca story. Like,
yeah,
I figured that Chewbacca, him meeting Chewbacca was going to be a little bit different than that. But
I figured it was going to be like later when they were in the mines.
Yeah,
like
enslaved.
Yeah,
right. Like he was actually a slave.
Enslaved at that point. Yeah,
I did hear a few people bitching about. I think Tad was bitching about the makeup or like from the other Wookiees. They were just so ridiculously stupid looking. They look like throwaways from like the Planet of the Apes movies, or like the face was like a bad caveman.
You know what? I'm not going to exactly argue with that.
The one other main one that he was talking to a lot.
But
was
at least
rough.
in the Christmas special, they look like Wookiees. This thing looked like what's his face from Land of the Lost. What the hell?
You wouldn't look your best hanging out in caves in slavery for however long they were in there either.
What's the kid's name in Land of the Lost? Like Chaka. Chaka. That looked like Chaka. Why couldn't I think of that?
No, you know what though? Okay, not to put down the previous movies, but the Wookiee costumes in the previous movies, I mean, especially episode 3, it looked like a guy in a suit. It did. Same thing, episode, like even the earlier ones, you can kind of tell it was, well, obviously you knew it was a guy in a suit. But, you can still kind of like see the separation of the mask and the body. This Chewbacca costume I think it was the best one out of all of them.
Well, when he was a wet dog, it looked really weird.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to lie.
Well, because we've never seen him all wet.
Right,
like that.
right.
And, what does a wet dog look like? He kind of looks like that.
Right.
So, his fur's not all fluffy and everything. So, I think this costume was probably looked the most realistic out of all the Chewbacca costumes that I've seen.
But, I mean, do you think, like, I get it, like Han saved him and all that, but when he saw his people and like they were saving everybody, the fact that he made that choice, man, that was like, that's a when he said could have gone with his people or could have went with Han, he chose to go with Han.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though?
Well, but so that, and they didn't really get into that. I mean, that's so Han saved him. That's the establishment of the life debt.
Right. Yeah.
Just like Jar Jar Binks, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why he got to take him through the core.
They didn't really touch much on the whole life debt issue. Like people don't, even from watching this movie, people, if people don't know Star Wars, they won't know what
that is. Yeah.
Why is Chewbacca with Han Solo when he's got a family to take care of?
Yeah.
But they don't know that Han saved his life and, Chewbacca, according to his religion, owes Han a life debt.
Yep.
So,
So let's jump into cameos real quick.
Yeah.
The Clint Howard one made me laugh.
Yeah.
We were joking, where's Fonzie? Because Ron Howard, good to get your brother in there. But it's not like he played a shit character. It's just Ron, it's
it was just a cameo.
Yeah.
Just like how he is in every Ron Howard, practically.
Right. It's like, you can do it. Like, get the hell off the screen.
Right.
I did miss Bosk. And I keep seeing
there
the
was
videos.
A reference.
It was he wasn't on screen.
All right, that's why. All right,
it wasn't on screen. The one chick that was with Woody Harrelson's character, what was her name? That
from Westworld.
Yeah. She said, "Why are we hiring this kid when we could have called up Bosk?"
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah, said something to that effect.
Right. Wasn't there a character, like, I saw another YouTube thing, I was trying to prep for this, where like one of the characters that was in the cartoons as a bounty hunter was like made to mention, or she's part of it?
No.
The Solomon sisters were mentioned in that.
But they weren't in. Yeah.
Aura Singh was mentioned.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking of.
What's his name? Woody Harrelson's character, Tobias Beckett, he has the reputation of killing Aura Singh.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Well, I didn't kill her. I just pushed her." It was
the fall killed her. Yeah, the fall killed her.
Right.
Yeah. That old man, Joe. That's an old man's joke.
Well, whatever the knife that Vision, right? the knife that Vision had, I thought that was one of the badass things in the whole movie.
Yeah,
double-sided knife.
They also mentioned another old expanded universe element.
Terraskasi.
Yeah. I had that video game. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. Masters of Terraskasi. Totally did.
Yeah. I didn't know it was pronounced like that, but.
Well, then they went through.
Actually heard it.
I was looking for the one-liners, and they didn't do. I got a good feeling about this.
Well, yeah. Okay. Inverted.
Right. But then it's got nothing to do with luck. Like, he dropped that one.
Yeah.
The I know, didn't that come out at one point? I'm trying to think of the reference.
It was at the very end. Lando says, "I hate you."
Yeah, it was "I hate you" and "I know."
Yeah. There's like 4 other references that totally I couldn't remember. Wish I had a notebook. I gotta go see the movie again. But they tried to bring a bunch of one-liners back, and it's not like I hate it. Like, it makes you nostalgic, but
sure. The little one-liners that they brought back, they weren't really in the forefront. Like, you have to be.
They were subtle. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to catch it. Like that. I hate you. I know. I mean, like, it wasn't said anywhere near like how.
Right. It is an empire.
Did you catch a Wilhelm scream? Because I did not.
I didn't. But you know what? I don't really listen to the Wilhelm scream.
I don't listen for it, but it's so damn obvious.
I'm sure it's in there somewhere, probably during the train fight.
Right.
Yeah,
would be my guess.
Yeah, it's there somewhere, but. I wasn't expecting to see Jabba the Hutt. We didn't. I wasn't expecting to see,
but referenced. So I mean, there's your setup for episode 4 with that. Yeah.
Actually, you know, I don't know. I heard that they're doing a trilogy of Han Solo movie. I heard that they're doing,
or it's going to mesh into the Boba Fett.
That's what I.
Which is going to mesh into the Lando standalone movie.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to
after what Lando did, he's getting his own movie. So I think those 3 are going to be the Fett and Lando movies.
Oh, there was the one-liner from Lando was mining colonies, they're the worst.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
well, then he was looking. I guess he had a model of Cloud City. Apparently, I didn't notice it in the movie.
Notice that, yeah.
But he was staring at this. You know, what else was I? Crap! I lost my train of thought. I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a Solo 2. I think like what you said.
Going
to be. They're going to have the Fett movie, and it's going to be intertwined with this Solo movie and the Lando movie intertwined.
Right. You know what I was expecting to see. I walked in with you and saying like if I don't like Greedo and Hutt, like that's what I was expecting to see
as cameos,
because they did it in Rogue One with I'm wanted on 12 systems, that guy.
Well, no, so that's I guess that's the question is, and maybe that's part of the setup is because so in Jedi, Han has a very strong reaction to Boba Fett, and you can tell in Empire there's something there, but you don't really get the what's there. So maybe in the Fett movie or the Lando movie, whatever, you'll get some of that backstory.
Yeah, somehow we got to figure out we got to find out how is it that Boba Fett is always one step ahead of Han Solo? Like how does he know
the tracking thing on his ship? Come on.
I mean.
Yeah, apparently nobody ever finds any tracking devices on the Millennium Falcon ever.
Well, no. Actually, that's not true. The reason why Unkar Plutt had the Millennium Falcon in Episode 7, the reason why he kept it is because I can't remember if it was mentioned in the movie or not, but it's because it had the Imperial tracking device. And that Imperial tracking device from A New Hope, and that tracking device was rare, so it was valuable, and it couldn't be removed.
Gotcha.
So, you couldn't sell it for 20 quarter portions.
That would be 5 portions.
5. Whatever. We didn't find out what the hell's up with the gold dice. Never said where he got it from. Never used them.
No, but we see them.
But clearly important to him.
Right.
Yeah.
We see them. Right. But what the hell were they?
Where'd they come from? Yeah.
You can't use them as dice because they got damn chains on them.
Well, they were his fuzzy dice that he hung off the rearview mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe it was just something that he bought at a flea market or something.
His ma gave it to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, there you go. The origin.
Good luck charm.
Actually, so there was the origin of the name. I thought was interesting was when he goes to sign up for the Imperial forces. Like Han. Okay, well, who's your people? What's your last name? I don't have any people. All right, Han Solo. There you go. All right.
Yeah, I wasn't. It is what it is. It's not it's not going to ruin the movie for me, but it was kind of like,
you know what?
All right, fine.
Yeah, but you know what, though? For the past 35 years, though, it was always, supposedly that Solo wasn't actually his real last name.
Okay.
Even in the old AC Crispin, the old expanded universe.
Yeah, like Splinter of the Mind's Eye. And
No. The ones that came out in the 90s. It was the Han Solo trilogy.
Yeah.
Paradise Snare was the Paradise Snare, the Hutt Gambit, and Rebel Dawn. Even in those books, Solo was not his real last name. They didn't know. Nobody knew for sure what his real last name was. And supposedly, in the old books, he was some sort of royalty. In the old expanded.
Well, and then Spaceballs came out and they ruined that.
Yeah, that's Lone Star.
Yeah. Well, it was always speculated that Solo wasn't actually his last name.
Yeah.
And you know what? To me, it's just a little bit too if it were his last name, it's just a little bit too coincidental that he's a Solo guy and his name is Solo and he always wants to be Solo.
Your last name is Butcher and you're a butcher.
Oh.
Well, it's like He-Man characters. Come on. Merman's in the ocean. Ram Man has a ram head. Like
Manny faces. Yeah. No, so honestly, end of the day, go see the freaking movie.
honestly,
it's better than 90% of the shit you're going to watch at home. Or
hands down. And if you're a fanboy who's got all these expectations, leave your expectations at the door, okay? And just go there and enjoy the story, because that's what it
remember
is.
I told you watch it
Story.
like I got a thing now with wrestling, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the extreme fandom that comes with these things.
Yeah.
Just watch it like an 8-year-old, man.
You know what?
Like, I nitpicked way too much. Like, the things I nitpicked about doesn't ruin the movie for me, but it's things that just stuck out it's almost like I'm forced to nitpick. I'm not doing this for X-Men. I'm not doing this for Infinity War, when I could have easily done it for Ragnarok.
Right.
It's the same.
Right. Real quick, let me just say something real quick. I know we're probably
No, you're good. We're good.
The thing is that if the movies don't go your way, would you rather have? I've seen this too. I've seen this on Facebook. People posting in comments. I'd rather have no Star Wars than
Lie.
bad Star Wars.
You know who those people are? Those are people who don't remember 1984
those people
to
who weren't
1996.
around. They weren't there back then.
Yeah.
We were there.
You damn kids today.
Right.
Any of us old people over, any of us people over, 40 and over, we remember when there was no Star Wars.
Nope.
Nothing at all. And then all of a sudden, the novels started coming out.
Yeah,
in the
you had
90s.
Zahn trilogy, yep.
And then we got the comic books started being made again. And then they started bringing back the action
Then you had
figures.
the special editions. And then you had
the special edition. And then now it's been nothing but constant Star Wars, since the mid 90s.
Yeah.
We were there during that time.
During the dark times.
Yeah, about
before the Empire.
Probably about a good 10 years almost.
Oh, yeah.
Where there was no real Star Wars. There was a couple books in the early 90s, and then there was little things here and there.
Right. That's the one thing at the end of the day. I was glad there wasn't that Martha or let's be honest, the Princess Leia floating. It was kind of a goofy scene.
Yeah. It looked
there
awkward,
wasn't. Yeah,
but
there
whatever.
wasn't that glaring moment where like, movie's shit because of that.
Right.
It didn't exist.
Well, okay.
It flowed everything was, the story was tight. They didn't have to save the galaxy. They were just fighting.
Yeah.
Well, in regards to that Princess Leia floating scene in The Last Jedi, how else is she going to float back? Like, is she going to do it feet first, butt first? No, it's going to look stupid. So she's going to look like she's got to do it head first. She's going to look like Mary Poppins. Superman. Aesthetically speaking, that's the most logical way to do it.
And why'd the lady stay on the ship with Laura Dern when she could just had a droid do it, for crying out loud?
I've always felt that should have been Admiral Akbar that did that move.
Akbar did it. Got a cheap exit.
He did got a cheap exit. He kind of got screwed. But whatever, it's fine. They need to sell an extra action figure, so they made Holdo.
Yeah. No, and honestly, that's my thing. It's like I said back at the beginning of this. What I've learned is I don't judge until after I've seen it with my kids.
Yeah,
because everything about The Last Jedi that you and I sat there and groaned at, my kids ate up, laughed at, loved, wanted more, give it all with a spoon, gimme.
I hated Jar Jar Binks.
And I'm not going to lie. Hold on. I'm sorry, Dave. I got to get this out. Not only that, dude, it's emotional, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm taking my children to Star Wars, like my father before me. There's this, like, honest to God, it's like when the scroll hits, man, the music hits, it's like, it's emotional as hell, man.
So, and they got me because when it started with the blue lettering, I was like, we're going to get the music.
I like the way they did it. I'm not going to lie. When they did it, like, I wish Rogue One would have went, because they almost probably did, okay, we're going to give you a mixture.
Yeah.
Now,
right?
I got to ask you guys a question. Because I didn't notice it and I didn't hear it, but, I really wasn't listening for it. Did you guys hear the Han Solo theme by John Williams, that was made popular?
I wasn't listening for it.
Yeah. The closing credits said Han Solo theme and Star Wars theme composed by John Williams.
Star Wars theme I heard.
Yeah, that I heard.
What the hell's the Han Solo theme?
When him and Princess Leia are making out.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff,
No, I don't remember that.
No. So I'm sorry, what were you saying about Jar Jar?
Oh, I was just saying, I hated Jar Jar, but what I showed episode 1 to my niece and nephew, and it was they loved them.
Oh yeah.
They
It's like
them.
Ewoks. Yeah. We all hated Ewoks.
Oh,
I like them.
I liked them.
I watched one in Return of the Jedi, I think this week, at night. And the only thing that ruined it about Jar Jar, and I'm not going to lie, when they parked the ship, the chrome ship, and they walked into town to get the part, and they Jar Jar'd the hell out of everyone.
He's a verb now.
If they would just left him on the ship and Obi-Wan would have went out there and not did all that stupid bullshit with eating the apple and the fish and the just, like I'm watching going, no wonder why everybody hates this asshole.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't know that I was supposed to hate the Ewoks until the internet came around. I mean, I never had a problem with
they
the
were
Ewoks.
awesome. Yeah, when we were kids.
I mean,
how old we were? What 10 or 13
I
when
was
83.
83. I was 10.
I was 8.
Dude, everyone wanted an Ewok pillow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with the Ewoks
Well, once you figure out that they're little carnivorous bastards, and they were celebrating because they had meat to eat from all the stormtroopers they killed,
and their god came. It was like a glorious day.
Well, no, we knew that they were carnivorous because they were going to cook Han Solo.
Yeah,
they had him on the rotisserie.
But yeah, no, yeah. So I'd go, just go see it. That's just shut up.
Wait for rental. Like I'll be honest. There's some Marvels. I
Well,
don't see everything.
Dude, to Dave's point, if you boycott this movie and you don't go see it, this is the movie you want more of.
Yeah,
right.
Don't be an idiot.
Yes.
Right. I mean, even like that, and like you look at Rogue One. I mean, they could have called this Rogue One, the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
And they could have called Han Solo Pick One. Right.
Yeah.
James or John Wayne movie Pick One, and it was, we're gonna, I'm gonna break out and I'm gonna rob a train and I'm gonna, have a showdown with the bad guy.
Yeah,
Come on,
if
man.
you love Westerns,
it's a perfect movie.
Yeah, if you love Westerns, you'll love this movie. And you know what? You can really enjoy this movie without ever having to see a Star Wars movie before.
Yeah, true.
You really can. I mean,
yeah, because there's no overarching storyline or plot points.
There's connections.
Yeah.
But that's it. Nothing involving the plot.
Yeah, you won't get who Darth Maul is and why that's a big thing at the end, but it's still a cool character that shows up at the end.
He comes at the very, very, very end.
Mind blown.
And mind blown. And you know what? If you've never seen Star Wars, you're going to enjoy them. There's still a chance you'd enjoy the movie. And when you see that character, you're going to be like, okay, who's that guy? And then you're going to ask questions, and then you're probably going to end up seeing episode 1.
Well, because you didn't know who the Emperor was the first time Vader knelt down and the hologram showed up with him in it.
Right, but you had to buy 5 figures to mail in and get the Emperor, kind of like Duke from G.I. Joe. And you're like, I need to have this doll.
Yeah, and that's how I got mine too. I had to mail in the proof of purchase.
It's funny though. I watched Return of the Jedi. I watched those two this weekend, and it's funny the glimpses when Snoke had the lightsaber next to him. Like there's Emperor with the lightsaber next. Like Luke's like the green lightsaber next to him. Yeah, it was such a search your feelings. It was almost like they almost wrote him It doesn't make you angry, but it's like, God, this shit's so.
Well, but that's why that was one of the issues that people had with the movies. Oh, it's just so that was the funny part to me was that 7 everybody hated because it was a copy of everything before it.
Right.
8 everybody hated because it was too different from everything they loved.
Yeah, so it just proves
you can't win.
You can't win. You can't make everyone happy. There's always going to be someone bitching.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Episode 7. I liked The Force Awakens. I liked The Last Jedi. I liked Solo.
Thank you, Disney, for continuing to make these movies. Period.
Exactly. Period. Because Lucas was done.
Yeah.
He was, he had things in development. Like he had the Solo movie already in development. He's the one that hired Lawrence Kasdan to write the script.
Thank you.
And Lawrence Kasdan knows how to write for Harrison Ford's characters.
He did Empire.
He fleshed out Han Solo in Empire. He the one that really truly fleshed him out because Empire Strikes Back was the movie that really made Han Solo. It really made him the cool guy.
No more J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, please. Though, please.
Well,
I don't ask for much.
He also wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark, Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows how to write Harrison Ford's characters, and he knows how to write the stories that we like. And he wrote this story with his son, because I guess he was busy writing The Force Awakens when they were scripting this one, and it was already in development even before Lucas sold to Disney.
But do you remember Rogue One? It was kind of like an ease into liking it. And now people are saying it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you still had the whiny. I don't like it.
It's not a Star Wars movie. There's no music.
Yeah.
There's no crawl.
And then all of a sudden, if you look at the ratings, that's like right up there with 4 and 5 and Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
And people are saying that about Han Solo now. And it's just going to be interesting how time will test this movie out. Like, once the butthurt fanboys see it at rental and they go, it ain't that bad.
That was all right.
Yeah.
No, but now they'll never admit it. Come on.
No,
some of them
cool.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're too cool.
But by and large, no.
They don't want to give in. They don't want to.
Dave, how do we find you? You are a master at the speed painting. I own a Flash Gordon print that you did in front of Flash Gordon, and but you do some awesome work on Star Wars characters. How do we find you online?
DaveSantia.com. It's DaveSantia. Just like Santia. It's just like Santiago, except for without the go. DaveSantia.com and Facebook, just Dave Santia. Just Google me. Dave Santia. I'm not hard to find.
Just don't ask them for free work for exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't want to hear my answer.
But hey, we appreciate the time spent with us, and thank you for the insights.
I love it. Love coming down here.
Absolutely.
And also, we don't have another Star Wars movie for another year and a half.
Year and a half. I know. What are we going to do?
Well, hey man, at least it's better than 3 years.
Right. Well, I mean, between DC and Marvel, we're going to have a movie every 3 months.
Yeah.
For the rest of our lives. But hey, also thank you, Charles Severance. Awesome conversation. I look forward to having you back in the future. Also want to thank Huawei Tablet, Microsoft Teams, F-Secure, and Huawei Tablet for keeping the lights on. We sincerely appreciate support. On behalf of Bob and Dave and 2/3 of Nuri, do us a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone number. You don't got to go home. Just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Rude.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
就on the truth.
Bear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy. Shut up, Mimsy. Shut up, Mimsy.
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team. Should I keep going or should I stop? Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.